Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. There is a story which will strike fear into the heart of everyone who cares about free speech, who cares about finding the truth, about having their, let's say, their information delivered unsullied and uncensored. A Tory minister wants to propose a law that means that media bosses would be sent to jail for failing to censor harmful content. Now that sounds ostensibly, oh well, that's nice, yeah, we don't want people to be sore and all that right now. But you've got to first of all define what harmful is. You've got to explain why you want censorship of real information, because sometimes the truth can be harmful, the truth can be unpleasant, the truth can be downright offensive. But because it's true, you should have the right to publish it, even if it's harmful, because you cannot censor the truth. Now, this is one of these things where what is ostensibly set out in one way is actually backdoor censorship by a government, so that they can take down and threaten to take down anything that they disapprove of. They will decide what is harmful. They will decide what is hate speech. The likes of me sitting there commenting on the SNP or on the doings of Parliament or on police corruption could be seen by some as being harmful, and it could be taken down. I could face censorship. I could face prosecution because I dare to speak the truth. I dare to promulgate information into the public domain that I think the public should know. And even where it's true, they will say it should be banned for being harmful. This is clearly wrong, and it needs to be fought and rejected at every stage. Do you want sanitized news? Do you want to know the truth, or do you want to know their version of the truth? That is what it's down to. We'll take a look at this article. So, UK Minister, jail social media bosses who fail to censor harmful content. Can she define what harmful is? Or is it just things she doesn't like? Social media bosses who fail to censor harmful content on their sites should be jailed. Plans announced by a UK minister have stipulated. Technology and Science Secretary Michelle Donnellan has announced plans to see social media executives thrown in jail should they fail to censor so-called harmful content on their websites. The jail threat is to be part of the UK's online safety bill, a widespread censorship plan that some tech giants claim will also effectively ban end-to-end encryption for private internet users. Now, this has got several major problems. Firstly, it's obvious she doesn't understand how laws work. Secondly, she doesn't understand how technology works. And thirdly, she has no concept of the wider issues brought in by this law. You see, the thing is, British laws only apply to Britain. You cannot apply a British law to a foreign country. So she can bring this law in. But let's say it was an American citizen on an American website that a British person accesses. What's she going to do about that? Because she cannot possibly prosecute that man. So she's got no concept of jurisdictional prudence. Secondly, she's got no idea about technology, because you don't have to be here or there or anywhere to host a web page. It can be hosted anonymously. It can be accessed through a VPN. Nobody knows who the person seeing it is. Nobody knows where it's hosted. She's got no concept of technology. And for the wider issues, these people use WhatsApp, and what they're saying is it cannot be used under this law because the government cannot see what's going through the airwaves, cannot read your messages. Well, why the hell should they? Why should the government be able to inspect every aspect of your private and personal life? I don't think they get it. Also, once you've got full end-to-end encryption and the government can't break it, and then they say, oh, okay, well, we want this password. But some of the encryption is so designed that there is no way of breaking it. It is basically a one-time pad set up by the two users or by the group. Nobody can break it because there is no password to break. There is just a completely randomized password that changes every single time. It is unbreakable. That is the point. But they don't get it, because ultimately we have to remember that politicians are stupid. Anyway, as it currently stands, the bill will give control of social media regulation to Britain's broadcasting regulator, Ofcom, which is a toothless wonder anyway, which mandates platforms under its control to censor all forms of expression which spread, incite, promote or justify hatred based on various progressive characteristics, including transgenderism. Fine, okay. But here's the thing. The Equalities Act 2010 specifies protected characteristics. One of them is philosophical belief. Now, if I have a philosophical belief that I truly believe in, i.e. that men who pretend to be women should not have access to women's safe spaces, I truly philosophically believe that, and I was to say that on a web page, I would technically be breaking that, because I would be spreading hate speech and I would be spreading harmful content by expressing my personal belief. A belief that is protected in law. So you can't square that circle either, but you don't expect them to, because after all, they're very, very stupid. And they are actually the ones defining what this harmful content is. Define, where do you draw the line between free expression and harmful content? Where is the line? The line changes for different people. What you find offensive, I might find acceptable. What you find acceptable, I may find offensive. Who defines what offensive is? You see, this is the trouble with these laws. They're so vague that the people drafting them basically can't enforce them, because as soon as it goes to court, I go, no, they're claiming this is offensive. It's not offensive. It's truth. If you're getting to a position where truth is offensive, then you have truly lost your civilization. Anyway, according to the report by The Telegraph, Donnellan has now confirmed that she wants any social media boss who ignores new restrictions to be jailed, justifying such an extreme measure with a reference to protecting children. Oh, let's think of the children. That is the call of people who just want censorship. They always, always refer to protection of children. And it is always, always got nothing to do with protecting children. That is an argument. It's a straw man argument. It's what they always say. It's to protect children. Here's a simple thing. Age limit the website. No children under 14, say, or under 16 or under 18. And then, if a child goes on, it isn't the fault of the website. It is the fault of the bad parenting. And so when a child goes on there, you prosecute the parents who've done a piss poor job at raising their child. And that's where you put the blame. How can you say that this is harmful and no, we're protecting the children? Are you protecting children? You're using children. You're using children to further the political end of political censorship, so that no one ultimately can then offend your sensibilities and tell you that your government is wrong, or object to the things that you are doing that you were not elected to do, and which the vast proportion of people in this country would find very objectionable and indeed offensive. So don't come the cod by saying it's to protect children. You're full of shit. Such a measure will be reportedly used as a last resort to deal with executives that have consented or connived in ignoring enforceable requirements to censor content. She has no concept of how the internet works. She thinks the internet is like books. Oh, if you print it in this country, then we can get it to the publishers. That's not how it works, you stupid bint. Anyway, this says it's so-called disinformation from a foreign state, which government officials claim would amount to risking serious harm to children. Again with the children. These people are obsessed with children. If you're a politician and you're on the left, you're pushing the grooming of children. And if you're on the right, you're using children to justify the massive totalitarian state that you seem to want to desire with control over every aspect of people's lives. This has got nothing to do with children, and you know it. Anyway, companies will also face fines of up to 10% of their global revenue should they dare to ignore Britain's demands to preemptively delete or obscure posts violating its coming censorship regime. You don't have the authority. If you have you've got a Chinese man in China hosting on a Chinese server, and he's got a web page, and people from all over the world are going to that web page. I don't know. Let's call it something that we've all heard of. TikTok. What are you going to do? Are you going to ban TikTok around the world? You haven't got the authority or the power to do that. You're a stupid, stupid woman who knows nothing about how the internet works. And what do people do? Oh, we're banning it. You can't access TikTok. Yes, I can, because I'm in America now. Or I'm in South Vietnam now. And now I'm in Switzerland. And that's how quick it is, because I use a VPN, I travel around the world, and what are you going to do? Because I'm going off a server, 4 countries over and 2 down. You've got no power whatsoever. Go and do some research before bringing in stupid rules that have got nothing to do with protecting people and everything to do with banning anyone from saying anything that the Conservative Party don't like. That's all it is. And of course, this is the next line. Backed by wide swathes of the Tory party, of course it is, the online safety bill has been met with horror from a number of big tech companies and anyone who knows anything about tech, who have warned that the legislation would effectively kill privacy on many parts of the internet. Indeed, you could be doing things perfectly legal, but which you are perhaps embarrassed by, various sorts of websites, adult content websites, and it has previously been encrypted. And now all of a sudden they're saying, oh, you can't encrypt it. So some guy sitting in an office in Whitehall can tap in and see what you're doing and what you're watching. And you're telling me that isn't going to be the grounds for blackmail? Because one of them could do it. There's no reason why he couldn't. Who's the protection here? What are you protecting? Why do you hate encryption so much? Why do you object to people having privacy? This is the question. It's not why have people got privacy. It's why do politicians object to privacy. So I'll tell you what. If you want to bring in a law that stops us having privacy, you open up your lives. You show us your bank accounts. You show us where every penny you've earned ever since you've entered Parliament has come from. You show us who's paying you outside of Parliament. You show us your full medical history, because all of this should be encrypted, and you don't want that. You don't want encryption. You don't want banks to have encryption, because that's how they move money about. Are you opening the world to fraud? Are you opening that because you're so stupid? Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. You stupid, stupid woman. And of course, the trouble is it's the whole of the Tory party. It's probably Labour. It's probably the Lib Dems, because they sit there in that ivory tower in Westminster thinking, how can we really fuck our people over entirely? Let's take away encryption so that their bank accounts get raided, so that they can't do anything without us knowing. Let's open them up to blackmail. Oh, and we'll tell them it's to protect the children. Like fuck. You're all wankers, every single one of you. Well, I tell you what, you won't, because I've got end-to-end encryption and I'm keeping it. I've got VPNs, several, and I'm keeping them. I have got rotating IPs and I'm keeping it. You will never know. Anyway, I'm finishing here and coming up. So we have this issue with really, really stupid people being voted into office to make really, really stupid statements about things they have zero understanding of. This is just, it's an example of a woman who thinks she's doing something great, but in actual fact she's doing something terrible, but she's doing it as well for the wrong reasons. They are just saying, oh, we need to end encryption because we like to know everything. Well, you can't end encryption, as I've pointed out, because so much is encrypted for very good reasons. And what are you going to do? Monitor every single piece of communication that goes down every line, through every air gap, through up to every satellite in the sky? You can't. And even if you could, you won't know what that message is until you unencrypt it, because still stuff will be encrypted. Or are you going to ban all encryption? If you ban all encryption, like I said, banking finished, medical knowledge, that's out there. There's no more No, basically that way, what you'd have to do is take everyone's medical records off computers and put them back onto paper. Because if you end encryption, then that's what I want. I want my entire medical history taken off computers. I want to put back on paper, and I will hold my medical history in my house, and I will take it to the hospital. They will deal with it. Then I will put it back in my house when I'm finished with it, because you can't trust anyone with anything. But this is the trouble. These people come out with these ideas and they haven't got a clue, and they don't think things through. And as for putting foreign nationals who run foreign websites sitting on foreign servers in a British jail, I mean, come on. Anyone who has got an IQ higher than a mushroom would know that that is not going to happen. But you just want to sound good. But the worst of it, apart from all the natural stupidity, is the way that it appeals. We've got to appeal to people by saying, it's for the children. No, it really isn't. And if you gave one fuck about children, you'd actually care for the children in this country now, instead of forcing drag queens on them, forcing surveys of 5-year-olds and asking them about their sexual proclivities. You're not stopping that shit, but you are stopping people complaining about that shit, which shows you which side of the line you're on. You might as well be the same as the socialist MPs and push your grooming, because that's all you are. Every single one of you, bar 2, in Parliament is pro-grooming. Do you know the only 2 who aren't? There's one on the Conservative side and one on Labour side. Miriam Cates for the Tories and Rosie Duffield for Labour. And they have formed a little pact. They've crossed the house. And they're forming a pact because both of them stand up for the protection of children against the other 648 MPs in Parliament. Parliament is a cesspit, and it doesn't matter which party or which side of the divide. Every single one of them is an enemy of the state, and I'm getting so angry I'm going to stop. Thank you very much for listening, and I do apologise for my anger. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button before they ban it. Ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and for God's sake, do leave a like. We need to push this. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, keep your encryption, keep your secrets to yourself, and goodbye.